What makes Journey to Un'Goro unique? When it comes to online multiplayer games, expansions elongate the popularity of a title without being a direct sequel. This is most commonly seen in MMORPGs like World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy XIV. Now, for a game like Hearthstone, expansions are almost more vital to the game's popularity, because in the world of card games, every expansion can easily reshape the entire feel of the game. Journey to Un'Goro was released April 6th, 2017, and marked Blizzard's official increase of expansions from 2 per year to 3 per year. In light of this, Un'Goro needed to shake up the game, and so far it seems to have nearly revamped the entire meta. What makes Journey to Un'Goro unique is how it balances simple concepts with dynamic new effects that can give longtime players a new appreciation for formerly unviable cards, and creating a meta where no one deck archetype can really take over the competitive scene. There were 3 big overarching additions to the Journey to Un'Goro expansion. The first was Adapt, the new bolded ability. Whenever a minion adapts, it gets 3 random choices of buffs, and the player gets to pick one for the minion to get. It is similar to Discover, but more restricted. There's a pool of 10 possible adaptations to get. Not too many to be unreliable, but not too little that every adapt choice would be similar. Sometimes Poisonous would be the perfect choice, but sadly it's not one of the options, forcing the player to think what other choice would suffice. The other new addition was the Elemental minion type. Elemental minions would have their own synergies, much in the same way dragons, demons, murlocs, pirates, and beasts all have. It was a way to breathe life into older cards, as well as create some new card concepts like Tar Creeper having +2 attack during the opponent's turn. This makes it a great taunt minion, but if players avoid it, it can't just attack to achieve the same effect. Balance-wise, it's a really smart card. A 3/5 taunt is a strong card, ergo Sentient Shieldmaster costs 4 mana. But since Tar Creeper doesn't have the attack on his turn, it's a limitation that trades off for 1 less mana. There are also cards that pull certain types of cards out of the player's deck. The only cards to do this before were Sense Demons and Curator, but now Tol'vir Warden and Arcanologist can pull 1-cost minions or secrets respectively. Cards like these can give players multiple turns to plan their strategy, rather than praying to draw the right card that plays well with their previous turn. With new card abilities, types, and effects, there's one final big addition to the expansion: the legendary spells known as quest cards. Quest cards are 1-mana spells that will automatically be in the player's opening hand, so with essentially sacrificing their first turn, they can begin their quest. Each quest has different criteria to be completed, but when it is completed, the player is rewarded with a very powerful card. Each class has 1 quest card this expansion, and each one nearly made every class have a viable deck. Rogue's Quest involves playing a card with the same name 4 times. With good use of cards like Shadowstep, Youthful Brewmaster, and the Gadgets and Ferryman, picking up the same 2-drop and dropping it 4 times can be completed by the 5th or even 4th turn. The reward is the Crystal Core, making all minions 5/5, making victory in the following 2 turns very attainable. It may seem overpowered, but Mage's Quest lets the player skip the enemy's turn. Hunter can get nearly infinite draw on their turn and a consistently full board. Taunt Warrior is finally a viable strategy thanks to their quest, and same goes for Murloc Shaman and Discard Warlock. Mix these in with the older strategies like Jade and classic aggro decks, and suddenly the game has variety within the quest deck itself. The fact that Stone Tusk Boar and Morose are seeing more play because of Rogue's Quest and Cultmaster and Starving Buzzard and Quest Hunter decks, it just goes to show how this expansion has brought back some of the base set cards from obscurity. Even just a tempo deck can handle all of the radical new cards since they're so combo heavy, and dealing with consistent on-curve minions can be a legitimate challenge. What's also fun is how the quests and fishing cards give players a bit more consistency, but still keeps Hearthstone's wacky RNG moments. Win or lose, having a big turn can happen to anyone, opening up the game to be strategic without just being pay to win. Of course, the competitive players have dissected the new cards and tried to formulate the most consistent winning strategy, but considering Pirate Warrior can still be a monster and a strong Control Druid can still be tough to deal with, the meta can't be brought down to playing one deck type just to win, giving free-to-play or just new players a fighting chance, especially if they just find a good mix of new and base set cards that work together. Even now, the meta is still evolving. Quest decks in themselves can have a lot of variety in how to complete the quest as quickly or methodically as possible. Can they mix in Murlocs into Quest Paladin, or do you really need a lot of beasts for Quest Hunter? The variety within the archetypes is still there, and even for those who don't have the quest cards, well, they have a multitude of ways to build decks that take advantage of that first turn opening. And of course, many of these cards have reshaped Arena. Adapt alone is a great way to make a card have the right stats or abilities to handle any situation. With 2 more expansions set for this year, Un'Goro could be the catalyst of a new era of Hearthstone. The year of the Mammoth has just begun, and Hearthstone's RNG-heavy gameplay just got a lot more fun and interesting, while still being rather strategic. That is what makes Journey to Un'Goro unique. If you enjoyed this video, click that like button, and if you'd like to see more videos that discuss what makes any video game stand out, be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.